it was like a nightmare. Okay, so let's recap. My mom's sick. We're taking care of her. There's no water. Someone got shot, and my dad accused Dyer and me of conspiring to murder them at some point. Like, I was so shocked. Like, I haven't talked about this for a while, so like I'm feeling a little teary-eyed even like saying it out loud again, like recounting the story, that my dad would think that I was going to murder him for land. And I'm like, is this what you think of me? Is this what you think of the partner that I've chosen for the rest of my life, who completely moved our entire lives to the Philippines? You think that he's gonna just throw that all away for some land? Like, that truly shows me what you think of me as your daughter. And I think that says more about you than it says about me. Like, that's not even a thought to occur to me to murder anyone over land. I'm not even a thought murderer. Okay? Like, if my parents knew me, they would know that what kind of person that I am. And then I think I want to believe the best in people. And I know now that that's not how my parents think of me. That they don't think the best of me, that they think very low of me for that to even come out of their mouths. Or my father's mouth. And my dad's expression. It wasn't a joke. I know my dad. He was serious about that comment. And he was smug about it. And we wanted to leave so bad. And the fact that someone had just gotten shot not too long ago, and the way things were going, it was so we wanted to leave, but we didn't know how to do it in a safe way. And so we went to town because there's no internet in the resort, so we had to go 20 minutes to town and go to a cafe and email relatives back in the United States like, hey, we don't feel safe. Shit completely went down and we don't know what to do. And they didn't believe us. They didn't believe it was us. Okay, fine. They didn't believe it was us. It could easily have been a scam. But eventually we proved to them that it was us, and that we asked like his extended relatives who have money, like, can you please help us? Because his mom had helped us so much already trying to move there that we just didn't want to burden her any further. And they didn't help us. They didn't help us. And finally his mom sent out like plane tickets for like she was in debt for like almost like 6-8 months because of us. And at the same time, like, I'm so grateful that she did that for us. And I feel like I feel like I owe her my life in some way because of my parents. Like, my parents made me feel like my life was in danger, that maybe they're just projecting. You know, we felt so bad that we had to do this to his mom. So we just kept it on the down low. I tried to maneuver events so that we could go back to the city and just run away. Just make our way to the airport somehow and just leave. And I was just like, I don't want to explain anything to your parents. Let's just leave. And I was like, no, I think they deserve to know how I feel and why I'm leaving. And so my mom was well at this point, and so I told her what my dad had said, and she got mad. Well, she didn't get mad. She wasn't like pissed, but she was annoyed that my dad said it. She's like, "Why are you saying that? Like, your dad just watches too many dramas and his books, honestly, that don't take him seriously." So we had a meeting with my mom, and she was like, "Your dad is old. Just let it go." But then I was like, no, because if we are going to run a company together, you can't act like this. If we're going to make any progress on your resort, you can't say shit like this. That's not acceptable. And honestly, you can't run any business if you don't trust your partner. And I sat them down with Dyer present, and I recorded the conversation without them knowing. The reason why I recorded that entire conversation was not for legal purposes, but because I know my dad has been emotionally abusive my entire life, and he is prone to gaslighting. So I made it an effort to take my tablet and record the entire meeting, just in case I had to replay that for him. Be like, no, you said it. I have you recorded, like, saying this. So I had it. I hit it. Dyer was there. My mom was there. My dad was there. And it didn't go well. They thought it was all because of the water being shut off. I said, no, it's not about water. It's a fundamental lack of a healthy relationship going on here. I told my mom, like, you don't communicate with us. You don't tell us anything that's going on. You just throw shit at us and just expect us to take it. And I understand when you have young children that you just expect to be followed without question, but I'm an adult now and I don't accept that. So it wasn't about the water. There was no respect for me and my husband there. And I told them that it hurt me and that things needed to change for me to stay. And then at some point, I told my parents that I was sexually assaulted while I was living in LA. And my dad was like, who is the guy? I'm gonna kill him. And my mom was like, that's what you get for dating the men you've dated. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but like, you dated really bad guys, so I don't know what you expect here. And I started crying. No one really said anything. My mom never apologized for that. She never referenced that again. She just compartmentalized that. And the meeting ended really poorly. Even when she said that, I still love my mom. And I held her and I said, I'm sorry that this was happening. I told her that I loved her like she was dying. You know, eventually we went to the city and we told them that we're not coming back. We're not coming back to the resort, and that when we go to the city, we're flying back. And then my parents were like, yeah, sure. No apologies. No, I'm sorry. No, hey, let's really make this work. I mean, at the meeting, my dad was just like, let's just start over. And this is not verbatim, okay, but this is what I interpreted him. He's just like, let's start over. I'll forget that Dyer's being a shit, and then we can start again. And I was like, no, that's not an apology. That doesn't show me that you're willing to work on things. You're just saying that to make us look bad, that we are being completely and utterly irrational, and that we're asking for too much. But other than that, there was no sense of remorse from either of them. Like, if anything, the rest of the time, my dad just straight up ignored Dyer. Like, he didn't exist. And my mom treated Dyer like he was the enemy. There was no sense of remorse. And I even asked my mom when we were having a brief moment alone, despite after the meeting, I wanted to get to know my mom, because I felt like after that I want nothing to do with her, so I might as well just make these moments meaningful. So we were talking, and I asked if there was anything that she regret in her life, and she said no. She didn't regret anything, that her life was great. And I guess that's good, but I didn't have a good life. I've been emotionally abused by the people that I loved up until I married Dyer. We went back, the longest trip of my life, back to Pittsburgh. I felt so broken. And I didn't want to talk to anyone. And it's hard to say that to people who know my parents, because they see my parents differently. They see them as community figures or people who raised amazing daughters. And I wanted this experience to be a way for me to understand them, like attempt to understand them. And the truth of the matter is, that's just who they are. And I've grown to accept that they see me completely different from who I really am. Okay, so I was watching The Haunting of Hill House, and you know that hot drug addict brother, and how he tried to make amends with his siblings, and the two older siblings just kind of treated him like he can't be trusted and he's complete trash. That's how my family treats me, like I'm trash. So yeah, my parents didn't even my family didn't even come to my wedding. I mean, I told my mom, like, I'm getting married, and she was happy for me. And we got married in October 2017. And my mom's like, well, we can't come to your wedding because your dad's old and he can't take that 16-hour trip. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And later on, I learned that they were planning to take a 16-hour trip back to the United States because their bank card had expired. So that told me that they're not willing to make a trip for their youngest daughter, but they were willing to do it for money. Okay. And then I invited my sister and I messaged her on Facebook and I was like, hey, I need your address because I'm sending you a wedding invitation. And she's like, I don't want a wedding invitation. The fuck? I understand you not wanting to come to the wedding because you're mad at me for something that happened 10 years ago. That you do not allow me to prove that I've become a better, mature person. But, yeah, you're just gonna hold that against me and just be completely fucking rude to me and not even want an invitation. That's why I wanted a small wedding, because I'm like, well, if my own relatives don't want to come, then what are the odds that like family and like friends are gonna want to come? So yeah, that's what happened, and I haven't spoken to them. I deleted my Facebook where they were the only people that were my friends, and I'm sad that this is what has become of our family. Yeah, that's me. That's where I come from. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's why we're here back in Pittsburgh trying to recoup the losses. If you're wondering about the 8 boxes, they're gone. All of the tools that he spent thousands of dollars on, they're gone. My wedding dress is gone. Everything that we like didn't get rid of that meant anything to us is gone. And when we came back, we had 2 suitcases and $10 to our name. Like when we came back, we didn't have a cell phone. We didn't have a bank account. We didn't have anything. We had computers and stuff. And there's one thing that I insisted that Dyer bring with him was our Xbox, which I'm glad because I love our Xbox. But yeah, that's where we are now. And I've been avoiding people because I'm ashamed that I mean, it was both of us, but I feel the burden of making a horrific, traumatizing decision, an expensive decision, and I feel like people they don't understand why that whole experience has been so traumatizing to me, and it has nothing to do with our stuff, because I feel like I've lost way more than just stuff. So, estrangement from your loved ones is hard because there's certain points of, doing random things where I'm just like, I miss my sister, or I miss my mom, especially my mom. Like, we used to be close. And, as close as we could be, but, I can't really forgive her for saying that to me at this time. Maybe eventually. And, like, my parents are old, so I can't really fathom how I'm gonna be when they're gone. Like, I just feel like I'm just gonna feel a loss all over again. And I'm trying to steel myself for that, but I don't know how to. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's your update. Not a good one, but it's truthful. And I hope that someone else can learn. They can learn from what I've been through.